In a season that is producing contract debate like no other, whether it was before Luke Davies-Uniacke or Chad Warner re-signed, or now with Tom De Koning, Desire Wanganeen-Millera, and a flurry of other players seemingly on the market, or at least pre-signed, Andy Brayshaw recommitted to the Dockers long-term very quietly and very modestly. And now, 7 rounds into the season, he has very quietly and very modestly not only taken his game to another level, but announcing himself as the least talked about and underrated midfielder in the competition across Victorian media and across footy fans. And that ends right now. Let's go. Now averaging around the 30 disposal mark, it's clear that Brayshaw has taken his game to that aforementioned new level. One of the criticisms of his game early on in his career was his damage, whether he could be a two-way midfielder, whether he could translate his handball first game into a kicking first game when required and properly get forward of the ball. The answers to those questions has clearly been, yeah, he really has. And it's at a point now where he's genuinely dominating games. Caleb Serong was my Brownlow pick this year. Andy Brayshaw is not only going to be leading the Brownlow from a Freo point of view, there is a case to be made that he will poll votes in 4 games this year. He almost should have won the Glendenning Allen Medal for how dominant his performance was. Wasn't the case. That's fine. Might have been a voting mishap by a former player, but we move on from that. But the 1-2 punch that Serong and Brayshaw bring are going to terrorise midfields. It terrorised Adelaide's midfield, who clearly operated a fraction too slowly tonight, which is a whole nother problem. But Brayshaw's stats, as you can see over my shoulder here, have just been taking the piss. He's gone below 20 disposals just once. He has hit the scoreboard more than you think, and he's genuinely becoming a more damaging player. There have been games this year where he has been handball happy. There have been games this year where he has been kick happy, and both have come off to devastating effect. 19 touches is the lowest he's had this year, and he went at 100% efficiency. Pretty damn freaking handy if you ask me. His ability to get on the outside, especially from clearance, has been really noticeable, especially without Hayden Young to start the year, and Young is still not at 100% of what he was late last year so far in 25, so to be able to see Brayshaw take that next step is only going to improve the Dockers. They haven't been really good on the road, and they didn't get off to a good start being 0-2, but his first 2 games were pretty damn good. He has been the most consistent midfielder at the Dockers this year, and a case to be made that he is their best one right now. The debate over he or Serong is going to be a fascinating one, and it is genuinely going to be a case of Freo fans are going to love them both. And of course, I believe they can make a big 3 in that midfield alongside Hayden Young, with guys like Bolton being able to rotate through there alongside Murphy Reid. But where his footy has come from, remembering that he was the draft pick that Gold Coast traded in order to land Lockie Weller, which, sheesh, let's just go with that as a descriptor. Holy crap. No offense to Lockie Weller, of course, but can you imagine a Gold Coast midfield of Rowell, Anderson, and Brayshaw? Jesus. There have been times where he just was providing not a lot of damage. There were times, and even this year it has happened, where he's lined up on a wing, circa Sam Walsh, and just like Walsh, we as footy fans are asking, what the actual hell is this? And of course, he's going to go through the natural progression of being a top-line midfielder, but that aforementioned consistency is what is going to elevate him over the top of some other midfielders that are trying to be A-grade. Not only is he definitely an A-grade, that he is having the kind of year from round 1 to 7 that is putting him into A-plus status. A guy like Jordan Dawson, who had started the year so well, Brayshaw pantsed him and was clearly the best midfielder on the ground tonight. There have been a lot of midfielders that are starting the year so well. Of course, out here in the Eastern States, you've got Dacos v. Bont. Now, of course, Bont coming back has been awesome. I'm not trying to take anything away from Nick Dacos in the slightest, but if Andrew Brayshaw, say, played at, let's go with Carlton, for example, with the exact same stat line, he would be getting a lot more love. Now, I imagine, I don't know what it's like, I don't live in Western Australia, that he would be getting all the love in the world. I understand that, but I can totally understand a lot of non-Victorian people, and I go through this, and I've always lived in Victoria, that kind of get a little bit annoyed that players that aren't in Victoria aren't really getting a lot of love. Even a guy like Jordan Dawson before this year was someone that didn't really get a lot of love. He did early, but as his form's dropped off, so has he. But Brayshaw is probably leading the charge in the media, being too slow to point out how good he is. Now, I imagine that after the performance he had tonight, he is going to be talked about a little bit more, in which case I was here first, which is always and really starting to piss me off a little bit with mainstream media seemingly taking my content points. It's not actually stealing. It's more of a case of I've said it. They already think it. They go with it. They've got a bigger audience, so you just got to live with that, unfortunately. But what is really cool to see from the on-field point of view is his ability to very quickly get the contested ball, get it out, and go. He hasn't really been a 1-2 guy in the past. He definitely is now. And overall, Freo are the better side because of it. Obviously, they play better at home than on the road, as we've seen so far this year. Yes, they had the close loss to Sydney, but they've played really well against the Eagles. They played really well tonight. I think they had another home game this year that for the life of me, I can't remember off the top of my head who they played, but maybe they didn't. I have no idea. But as a whole, their ball movement tonight, Freo, looked solid enough. They took the foot off the pedal in the last quarter, and the Crows kind of did what they wanted. Freo aren't really good enough to let teams get away with that for too long. Like, yeah, they won. That's awesome. 3 goals. We love that in every which way for them. But overall, is it the result that makes you feel overwhelmingly better about them as a non-supporter? Not really. Does it make you feel overwhelmingly better for them as a Freo fan? I hope so. Maybe overwhelming is the wrong word, but hopefully you get a lot of confidence out of this. Dick Tracy looked awesome. Shea Bolton is so close to kicking 7 and having 25. I promise you. I don't know if it'll happen or not. He's going to do some things that are going to make you want to pull your hair out, but the X factor that he brings, as someone did a video on earlier on in the preseason, not naming names, but that extra bit of excitement, Isaiah Dudley just cannot be the sub again. He has too many half moments that some turn to gold, some don't, but you live with them for how good the net positive is when he impacts the game. Murphy Reid is getting better and better. My man, Matty Johnson, by foot tonight, panicked a little bit, but love how much he gets around the ball. Heath Chapman was really good. And overall, the Dockers were the better side. A little bit disappointed in the Crows in their application in the first half especially, but they got better as the game went on. No Fogarty down there, and you did really see how the big four effectively really do need him. It is Thilthorpe, it is Fogarty, it is Walker, and then Curtin in that order. And that is evidently clear to see. Yes, Walker had a really good last quarter and had some moments, but obviously if it was Walker or Fogarty, you're taking Fogarty, or at least I am. I don't know how you guys feel about it. But overall, Anzac Day finishes with a game that was not the greatest to watch, and it just felt like a movie that was about 20 minutes too long. Like, we could have wrapped this up a little bit earlier and got the same result. But Brayshaw's the star. Freo get a win at home, and he, alongside Freo, deserve to be talked about a little bit more. So that's what I think, guys. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to join the Des Talks Footy family. My Collingwood versus Essendon review is live, so you can go check that out as well. My Richmond v Melbourne review is live as well, so enjoy that. I've got a little bit going on the Saturday, so I won't be talking about every game, but GWS and the Bulldogs I'll be locked in on, so I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully you are as well. See you in that video. Goodbye.